Hey everybody, we have a really beautiful summer morning here. It's not too hot, and I'm out on the porch where I have my raised beds, and we're planting tomatoes, the transplants. Every year I put in these raised beds here on our front porch tomatoes, and I wanted to show you a really good tip, good trick that we learned back when we first started homesteading. We read a book called Homesteading in the 21st Century by Jane Waterman and George Nash. It's a really great book. I'll put a link in the description. Just a fantastic book. It got us really excited to homestead ourselves. And they shared a tip on planting tomato transplants. It's worked really good for us. I'm not a real big gardener. I don't do a ton of it, but I do enjoy these raised beds. I like working in raised beds, and I like planting our transplants. So we're going to show you how we do that right now. So thanks for joining us. Good morning. I'm going to just set up our camera here so you can see what we're doing. And you'll notice I have here, we went and bought a couple transplants from our local farmers market. If you're going to grow organic, it's good to buy organic because these plants have been come from organic seed and bred organically and all that stuff. So if you're going to go the organic route, then buy good organic stock, and we like to go to the farmers market to do that. We got 3 transplants this size for $1 or for $10. Not 3 for $1, that would be incredible. But the trick is when you plant these transplants to bury them to like there. You don't want to plant it sticking out of the ground here, which is the common, beginner. That's what I would have done before I read that book. Just dug a little hole, stuck that in, and had this whole big thing sticking up. In the book, they talk about how if you plant it up higher with just a little sticking out, it's stronger, it gets a better root base, it's healthier for the plant, it'll withstand the wind and the rain and the whole transplant process. So I just take a little shovel here, and we got a couple. That's actually, I think that's mint growing right there. But yep, that's mint growing. We got plenty of mint though, so I'm gonna just get rid of that one guy. I'll leave the other one, he's okay. Dig my spot right here. I'm just gonna dig a long hole, and I don't bury it straight up and down. I actually bury it at an angle. We're working in raised beds here, so I don't have a ton of depth. So I'll show you how we put this in kind of at an angle. So we lay it down in there, pop it out of the little box, and then we tickle the roots here a little bit, kind of get them roughed up and ready to go. And then I'm going to bury this thing like to about there. So I put it down in the ground here, and you can see I kind of lay it down, and then we just kind of tilt that part up. We bury all around it. It's a nice wet day right now. Everything just got a good rain, so the soil is nice and moist. It's a good time to plant. Make sure it's packed around it, not too tight, but just like that. And you might want to even, snip off a couple of those. And there you go. It looks a lot smaller than it did when we purchased it. We don't buy the biggest, tallest plants when we go for the transplants. We got plenty of time left here in the season. So we're not looking for a big, tall, expensive. Normally you pay more for the bigger plants. So that'll do it. We got 2 more to plant here. I got, this one's not even labeled. We got some cherry tomatoes and then some your basic beefsteak tomatoes. And usually in these raised beds, my raised beds are, I think they're 5 by 2.5 or something like that. I don't remember exactly when I made these, but they can support about 3 tomato plants. So we're gonna pop one more. I'm gonna change camera angle on this one so you can kind of see it from the side, what we got going on here. Good Game Bees and Homestead says that they got a series on their channel planting like this. That's cool. You guys do the same thing. So I'm gonna just dig, same thing, dig at that angle, I find it makes just a hardier transplant. Just seems to work better. We're going to plant this guy right next to the lettuce. Shouldn't have any problem putting them together. Oh, that lettuce is actually, we didn't plant that lettuce this year. That's come back up from last year, which is kind of neat to see. See? Just like that, got a nice little tomato plant. Started off the right way. Got plenty of root depth. And then it'll be nice and sturdy as it grows up from there. It won't break or bend over. So that works really good. Well, my hands are all dirty. I can't scroll through the chat box too much here. Hannah says, mind blown about planting part way buried down. That's why we shared the tip, Hannah. I figured not a lot of people have, I don't know how many, honestly, I don't know how many people do this method, but it works really, really good. And this is the way we've been doing it for probably 3 or 4 years, back when we read, well, maybe 5 or 6 years at this point. We read that book when we first moved into our homestead. And I really recommend that book, Homesteading in the 21st Century. George and Jane Waterman, George Nash. Just a fantastic book, very down-to-earth approach for homesteaders. You know, they talk about lots of things you got to consider when looking for land, looking at a place, when you're shopping for it. They talk about, you know, techniques, what animals you might want to own or not. So check that book out, guys, for those of you in the beginning stages of looking for a homestead or finding a homestead, or even if you've been homesteading for a while, maybe you'll get some good tips. It's a really, really fantastic read. It's one of those wintertime books when you're getting all excited about your next year of homesteading and you want to, you know, read something to get you all fired up. That's a great one. And then the last thing I'll do to these tomatoes, once we got everything planted, I'm going to plant a few more things in these raised beds. We manage these beds pretty tight, and so we're able to get a lot of yield out of them. But the last thing that I'll do is I'll put some wood chips over the top. That'll suppress the weeds really, really well. And you can use hay for that too. Hay decomposes nicely. I usually use wood chips because we get them for free and we got a big old pile of them. So I'll put a nice wood chip mulch over the top. Raised beds dry out quicker, and so a wood chip mulch keeps them from drying out so fast. And I'll plant in here maybe some more lettuce. You know, get a little lettuce before it gets up. But most of the time we just keep it to a couple tomatoes, maybe a couple peppers. Last year we planted, you can see back behind the raised bed here, I can actually stand back here, it's off the porch. We planted zucchini, and they're vining plants, so they vined over the side and down, and it was super cool because you could just walk back here standing up and pick cucumbers rather, not zucchini. Zucchini or cucumbers, one or the other, I don't remember which, but that was really, really neat. So thanks for joining us for this little live stream this morning, guys. A little Monday morning live stream. Get you thinking about some gardening. And we'll catch you guys later.